As the 80th anniversary of D-Day approaches, the commemorations are beginning ahead of official events in Portsmouth and Normandy over the next 2 days.
Well, over the past week, GBNews has been speaking to veterans and remembering those who fought for our freedom.
So joining us this morning is GBNews Home and Security Editor Mark White from Portsmouth and GBNews reporter Sophie Reaper from Arromanches in Normandy. Sophie, what's happening there?
Well, it's a hive of activity here in Arromanches, and joining me now, we won't keep anyone waiting, we have the 1st Battalion Light Infantry and their nominated spokesperson, Richard. Very nice to see you this morning, everyone, but also you yourself.
Yeah.
Talk to me about yourselves. Why was it so important that you wanted to be here for the 80th anniversary of D-Day?
Well, some of us were on the beaches on the 40th anniversary in front of Reagan and the Queen. We decided to repeat that 40 years on and come and march from Utah Beach all the way to Pegasus Bridge, where we're in a parade where we march over at midday on the 6th of June, marking D-Day. Our operation is called Ham and Jam, which it was called back in the D-Day, where they took 2 bridges, one of them being which was Pegasus, and it's the Ox and Bucks Light Infantry that took that bridge, and we're the descendants of the Ox and Bucks Light Infantry.
Well, there's quite a few of you. I think if we pan out, we can see just how many of you there are. Talk to me a bit about the light infantry. I know we were speaking earlier, you're very known for being the fastest in the world for your march. Do you want to talk to me a bit about that?
Yeah, well, our tradition is to march at 140 paces to the minute, and back in the day we were skirmishing regiments and we got to the battle quickly, and that's how we won our wars or our battles, and you know that's why we're famous. And plus also the bugle. So we were commanded by the bugle for all of, you know, going to the cookhouse, going to the battle, standing to attention, everything, and that's why you see the bugle on all of our t-shirts. Okay.
Now, of course, we're at Arromanches today, which is part of Gold Beach, one of the British beaches on D-Day. How important is that a part of your heritage? How does it feel to you to kind of know that it was British men that were landing here on D-Day all those years ago?
Well, it's very poignant for us just to walk, because we're doing the whole coast. We're seeing it from an angle of what the Germans would see it from, and the British attacking. So when we walk round, my friend John Shrigley, he's a historian, he tells us what happened where, and it makes us even prouder as we're marching around.
Amazing. Gents and ladies, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon or this morning. I'm not quite sure what time we're on, but we'll be bringing you all the latest here in Normandy over the coming days.
Thank you, Sophie. Oh, it'd be nice to be out in the fresh air this morning, wouldn't it? Mark White is down in Portsmouth. What's happening there, Mark?
Well, the Brittany ferries that was carrying some 30 veterans heading off to Normandy left here just after 8 o'clock this morning. A sizable crowd gathered actually to see that ferry leaving here, which was flanked by a Royal Navy minesweeper, Royal Navy patrol aircraft and a couple of the old World War II era patrol torpedo boats as well, heading across to Normandy with those veterans, and really quite a poignant sight, because it is expected to be the last major D-Day commemoration in which we will see veterans attend, at least in any sizable numbers. The last time, on the 75th anniversary, it's estimated there were some 500 D-Day veterans still living in the UK. That number is now below 100, but many still wanted to be here, and the crowds certainly appreciated that. This is what some of the crowds said to me when I spoke to them earlier.
And it's just a privilege to be here today with the freedom that we all have and that a lot of people maybe take for granted a little bit.
Fantastic day. I think more people should be here, really.
Really kind of loud, actually, and really cool.
Well, among the veterans on that Brittany ferry is George Chandler, who was on board one of those motor torpedo boats guarding the fleet of some 7,000 vessels involved in the D-Day landings, and he was up at Omaha Beach. And he spoke to me. This is a man who is over 100 now. He's virtually blind, he's very deaf, but his recollections of what happened that day, the horrific scenes that he saw on Omaha Beach, are still so vivid. Let's have a listen to what he said.
Unfortunately, we had to die outside and watch this going on, and it wasn't very nice. to actually watch these kids. And they were kids, they were young. I was 19 at the time. These kids were younger than me, I know they were. And we've all heard of the brash American. Boy, oh boy, were we pleased they were like that. Every time I talk to somebody about D-Day, I'm there. I'm there on D-Day watching these young American Rangers trying to get into the... Some of them were killed before they even got off their assault craft.
As George says, every time he talks about D-Day, he's back there 80 years ago, and he and his comrades that are on board that ferry heading to Normandy will lay a reef just off the coast of Normandy at 1 o'clock this afternoon before several days of commemorations.